Hey, so I'd just like to give a shout out to Saf, the artist, who came up with this suggestion on one of my videos on a comment. It's non-duality and the sort of oneness of reality, and I'm going to explore this from a few different concepts and sides and angles. I always like to think of non-duality and holism as like a cosmic soup. So it's kind of like every swirl, every rising bubble, every drifting speck of spice seems separate, yet all of it belongs to the same broth. So non-duality isn't limited to one philosophy or religion. It's like this theme that constantly echoes across centuries and cultures. So if, a few examples of that is Taoism, Vedanta, Zen Buddhism, even in modern New Age thought, like what's it called? The laws of attraction. That's the one. They all point towards this same kind of insight, and that's that we're inherently entangled with the universe. The boundaries that we draw between like self and other, mind and world, they're illusions, and separation feels real, but beneath it lies a seamless field of being. So this idea resonates even seemingly in opposite places, like bottom-up materialism, where consciousness is seen as an emergent property of billions of neurons firing in concert. Whether we view the brain as generating consciousness or the universe itself as conscious, sort of akin to panpsychism, both perspectives can imply a kind of holism, this single interconnected process sort of giving rise to what we call me and you. So in psychology, uh, Carl Jung spoke of this collective unconscious, a sort of thread that tethers us all together. It's cool. A cool facet of that is a synchronicity to look into, and this is sort of like a shared reservoir of symbols and instincts. Others see interconnectedness in ideas like hive minds or the thought experiment of the Boltzmann brain, which is it's more likely that a brain would occur than the entirety of the universe comprised of billions of brains, and this Boltzmann brain would be convinced it was a plurality, but it's actually a singularity. I suppose in that sense, we'd all just be its tulpas. And even in religious prophecy, you can see it where humanity itself becomes an instrument playing out the patterns scripted by a prophecy. So it's like the instrumentalization of a humanity. So some ancient visions of oneness, sort of across cultures, this idea of unity is often appears in like strikingly similar forms. So in Hinduism, the Brahmanda is this cosmic egg, and it symbolizes the primordial wholeness from which everything emerges. It's quite funny that we are talking about food, and there's the cosmic egg. Maybe I'm drawing a correlation that isn't really there on that one. The Greek Orphic tradition as well speaks of a silver egg that cracks open to birth the entire cosmos. And in Chinese myth, the giant Pangu hatches from such an egg, shaping the heavens and the earth. And even modern mystics like Isaac Bentov, who wrote a really good book called Stalking the Wild Pendulum. It's definitely worth a read. He sort of picked up this ancient symbol describing the universe itself as a kind of cosmic egg, this unified vibrational whole where everything is a part of the same primordial field. Bentov's work was pretty cool because it bridged Eastern and mysticism with this sort of Western scientific idea like wave mechanics and holographic models, sort of suggesting that what appears as separate objects are really patterns of vibration within a single field. Stalking the Wild Pendulum talks a lot about vibrations, and it also has a really cool section at the end where it talks about Kundalini awakenings. So the sort of physics and scientific backing behind this, so they do seem mystical, but there is some physics and science behind these parallels. So like the holographic principle, born from sort of studying black holes by thinkers like Bekenstein and Susskind, proposes that all the information within a volume of space could be fully described by data encoded on its boundary. It's as if our sort of familiar 3D world is like a projection a hologram arising from more fundamental, lower dimensional information, like from the two-dimensional. While this principle doesn't claim everything is an illusion, it does suggest that what feels solid and separate might actually emerge from something deeper and more unified. It blurs the line between inside and outside, and part and whole, sort of mirroring the essence of non-duality. There is a book I'd highly recommend checking out. It's from the guy who created the steady state theory, Fred Hoyle, and it's called The Black Cloud. And the premises of the book basically is humanity interacts with a vast, intelligent, interstellar gas cloud, which kind of hints that consciousness spreads across matter. But there's a really interesting part of it where he says the black cloud tells them that humanity is as close to a hive without being a hive. And it sort of uses how like we all universally know what a headache is and what it feels like, and how our linguistics are very limited, but it works for us because we just like to communicate acoustically. I'm butchering it, but it's definitely worth reading. It has some really cool ideas. Sort of some philosophical backing behind this about non-duality and the sort of holism. So Neoplatism, Plotinus especially, he described all multiplicity as sort of emanating from the one and ineffable source beyond all categories. And David Bohm as well spoke of the implicate order, an underlying wholeness from which this oh, sorry, having a bit of a tongue twister moment here. Explicate order, the world of distinct objects and events unfolds. So to Bohm, the separateness we see is like ripples on the surface of a deeper ocean of being. All of these perspectives converge on a simple but profound idea that reality is ultimately undivided. It's a whole body, kind of like time in the fourth dimension. If we were to just go up a dimension, time would be this physical thing, and past, present, and future would all exist at once. Kind of like a body lying down. The birth of your life is your feet, and the death is your head. What looks like sort of countless separate beings, thoughts, and things may actually be an expression of a single hidden order. I actually wrote a book about something very similar to this called Void Around Sunlight. I know it's kind of cheesy to plug your own book in there in a video like this, but I'm a cheesy guy. So a sort of closing reflection on this is whether we approach it through sort of mysticism, physics, philosophy, or psychology with Jung, the message seems to be the same. The universe may be less like a machine of separate parts and more like a living, breathing, sort of bubbling, frothing cosmic soup. A soup where you, me, and the stars and the nebulas and every thought and atom are different currents in the same broth, sort of akin to panpsychism. Everything is conscious in its own way. And when we glimpse this oneness, even for a moment, our view of the world can shift. Separation softens, sort of compassion deepens. We remember that the cosmic soup isn't something outside of us, it's what we are. And I've noticed a lot of people who have had like spiritual awakenings, who are very much into sort of mysticism and New Age. They always say like the big moment for them where they realized that, and they had their first sort of spiritual awakening, was when they kind of realized that there was not really anything separating them from the rest of the universe, and what they felt was separate. If you took it down to a quantum level, there'd really be no real separation. And, it's a pretty mind-bending, sort of mind-blowing thought. But, I'd just like to throw out another thanks to Saf, the artist, for this cool idea. Had some fun sort of talking about it and exploring parts of it. And, I hope you enjoyed this, guys.